Okay, if everything has gone according to plan, we should be live on YouTube. Hello everyone and welcome back to Weekends with Runner. 2 weeks in a row. I know, what a shocker. I'm actually able to do these, but the thing is, there wasn't too much, well, actual tech news to really sit down and chat about in this week. But there has been a topic that's been on my mind the last couple of weeks. I've been slowly prepping towards, and what is up with my hair? Why is the carpet sticking up? There we go. And there's been something I've been trying to think about the past couple of weeks, and that is this. Now, long-time fans of the channel may remember this. This is the Phenom 2 X4990 based Windows XP gaming PC, which I use for all the titles. However, it stopped working. Like, it just stopped working, it just doesn't work anymore, doesn't want to power on. And the issue with stuff from this generation is that there's no feedback at all when it comes to any of it. There's no LEDs, there's no nothing. If I had something to, if I had to point fingers at something at this stage, it would probably be the motherboard. I had quite a few people say in the comments that it definitely needs to just be some of the capacitors look like they're about to fall off. That's probably one of the things. I've never recapped a board before, so that's probably one of the main things. I tried for a different graphics card, if I remember correctly, and I don't think it booted either, so I don't think it's the GTX 295 that's in here either, which is good, because the GTX 295 is not cheap now. I'll tell you. I looked how much a replacement would be. They're pretty expensive, or even if I wanted to run another one of these in like SLI, they would be pretty expensive, but it just doesn't work. So, I think it's about time I realized another project I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I talked about this quite some time ago, and in just this random red bag at our other house in Poland, I came across this beautiful condition P5BVM LGA 775 motherboard, which means we could potentially do another retro build, this time on Intel on the legendary LGA 7075 socket. Now I found this thing maybe like 2 years ago now. Okay, so this has been a project that's been slowly being planned for quite a while, and that's mostly because at the same time it's just something I know not a lot of people would actually care about when it comes to a channel this size. It's one of those projects, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want to do as many retro PC builds as I want to. As I can, because I have quite a few old PCs I really want to get through, including my first ever PC that still has a GeForce 2 in it, and I think it's like an old Celeron running Windows 98 or 95. I don't want to do those kind of builds yet, because I know that they just will not really perform as well as I really believe that kind of content deserves, because it's one of those things you can only do once. You can only revisit your first PC you used when you're like 3 or 4 years old once. So I want it to really get the views that kind of project is capable of getting. But anyway, but I think it's about time I do something about this, because I want to play on this again. It was so much fun playing old games on on Windows XP, and I actually kind of need it. So if I quickly get it from up here, there it is. One game I really want to revisit that I played when I was a lot younger is Warriors Kings Battles. You probably never heard of this game. I won't blame you for it. It's really awesome. I finally got the big box version recently, and it does just not want to launch on Windows 11. I know that on GOG you can get a digital copy of it that is apparently supposed to work on Windows 11, but I'm not that kind of person. GOG, fantastic service, but I refuse to use it when possible, because I prefer to hunt down and pay a bit more for the physical copies on eBay, because, I mean, come on, just look at these boxes. I prefer physical media, and I could very much use a running Windows XP PC to do it with. So like I said, I've been on this project for a while. I already have a CPU which I want to use alongside with it, and that is the Core 2 Extreme QX6700. Quad core, super fast at a time, and it also sets the kind of time period that this PC will be in, and that's kind of 06, 07E. Someone's asked, if you had to redo the whole build, where would you get the drivers from? Getting drivers is probably the easiest part. I mean, all of the websites are still up, even like the support websites for the Asus, the P5B. If you look at that model online, you can still go to Asus's website. The product page is not available, but there is a support page with drivers. And then there's just everything you could ever need on the Internet Archive when it comes to old stuff. So I had this running pretty well up to that point. There were a couple of things that I couldn't get working in this original build that I also hope when I rebuild everything, I would get to work. So, the sound card, starting with the sound card. The Sound Blaster Odyssey 2 ZS in here, phenomenal. And it came with this absolutely awesome front panel. I couldn't get this to work, right? I don't know why, but nothing about it just worked, despite it being, I think, properly connected. Another thing that didn't work is the optical drive itself. I tried several, and while it was detected in Windows itself, right? If I went into Windows Explorer, File Explorer, it would show up. However, every single time I would actually put a CD inside of it, Windows XP would just tell me, what CD? There's no CD inside here. And I tried on several different, so I think it's a driver issue. Another thing I just could not figure out is getting this thing up and running. And when it comes to internet drivers, oops, my mic fell. Sorry there about that noise if you heard that. Let me just quickly correct that. Yeah, so I tried using an internet card. Actually, did I? Now that I say it out loud, maybe I didn't use an internet card. Maybe I just used the onboard Ethernet, but I just couldn't get the internet to work. I don't know if that's just the drivers for this particular motherboard. So again, hoping when I'm over on this Asus Intel board instead, maybe I can get it to work. Then there's a couple of other things I need your guys' suggestions for. Starting off with, obviously we're going to need a new cooler because we're on LGA 7075. New graphics card, I think. Because obviously the GTX 995, a phenomenal card for its time, but it was released in like what, 2009-ish? 10 max. I think it's probably around 9. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. However, for this era, which is a year or two older, I want to go for something a bit different. Now, my initial thought is to go for an 8800 GTS 512 meg edition. I think that would be the perfect graphics card for it. Unfortunately, with this motherboard, because it is an M8TX one, I mean, we couldn't even run SLI. As you can see, there's no second PCIe slot. You could just have this like cut out here. Even then, the P5B series from Asus does not support overclock, does not support SLI, so that wouldn't even matter anyway. But again, maybe in the future we could do another motherboard upgrade. We could also go with a slightly faster CPU. The QX6700 is fast. It's one of the faster ones for the socket, but there are faster. The QX6050, I believe, is the one after that, and then there's the QX90 something, and that's like the fastest CPU on the socket. I can't remember the exact name now, but yeah, those are kind of the main plans for this PC right now. So I just kind of want your suggestions about what are some of the parts choices we should go for here, and you know, hopefully by doing this live stream I can get some hype. I can kind of gauge what the reaction would be if I were to do another retro PC build. Speaking of, I want to go back to the sound card as well, because it is a legendary sound card and it does come with a pretty awesome front panel, but there's also better ones, because this one is what, from 2003 to 2004. If we are going for that 06-07 time period, I think we could get away with something like a Sound Blaster XFI card. Those things are awesome, and apparently from what I heard, a pretty major improvement over the Odyssey series, so that's something else to think about. And then is the case itself. This is a case I hand painted using a spray can, if you remember that video. It is pretty awesome. However, it does also just have like, you know, Venom stickers on the front and stuff like that. I feel we can go with another really awesome gamery looking case in that period if I happen to find one. And again, another good CPU cooler that actually supports the 775 socket. Something like the Zalman Flower cooler or something in a similar vein would be awesome, though those would be pretty expensive. Ooh, when I was scouring through eBay recently, I need to actually quickly look this up if I got it correctly. Do you remember from my Cooler Master video when I showed you that CPU cooler that kind of looks like an engine? Well, it turns out that they used to do the exact same thing. It was just called the Cooler Master V8, because obviously, and it was for the LGA 775 socket. And that thing looks so awesome. I think it'd be a really, really cool cooler to use for this. Again, if it's actually possible to get one at a good price. I have no idea what the kind of the budget will be for this thing yet. So that's one of the builds. And the PSU will just stay because it's just fine. It's a newer Be Quiet unit. That's definitely not era appropriate, but yeah, going with an era appropriate PSU would be a bit of a gamble unless it's a brand new one. And again, I don't have that kind of budget. But then there is, let me bring the mic a bit closer so you can actually hear me properly. There we go. There is another build I want to do beyond this one. And it's not even really a build, it's just kind of a concept. You may remember a while ago I got this motherboard, which is the Crosshair 5 from Crosshair 5 formula from Asus ROG for the AM3 Plus socket, basically as high end as it could go when it comes to FX motherboards, because yeah, this is from AMD's FX CPUs. And with it I got the 9590, which is the highest end FX CPU. You know, the thing that was like 220 watts, but it could actually reach 5 gigahertz maybe for a couple of seconds. That thing. The CPU of utter desperation from the side of AMD. The kind of one that symbolized all of the struggles and strife they went through in that generation. It did not, it was missing a pin. Thankfully, it was one of the pins that just managed memory, so it's nothing too serious, but it was missing a pin. So I want to finally do that video. Again, that video, when I was actually unboxing this thing, it's probably like 2 years old at this point. And I was just sitting on this project until more people care about it. And I think it's starting to get to the point. I mean, hey, the channel's about to reach 20,000 subscribers. Maybe there will be a 20 sub special. I think that could be pretty cool. Someone just called it a volcano CPU. Yeah, pretty much. Was it? When I was doing my video cooking... trying to cook pancakes on a CPU, that dumb video I did a while back, I believe it was on the 9590. It was either that or the 8350, but if I had access to the 9590 at that point, that would be what I would have used for that video. That was a dumb video. I should really try and do something like that again. Just really dumb videos like that, because it did surprisingly well, especially on TikTok for some reason. People really liked it when I posted on TikTok. But I don't know, the TikTok algorithm is just a mystery for me. Jim G says, as scarce as video cards are nowadays, any older video card is good. 9, 10, 20 RTX. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not as bad as a couple of years ago when even older cards were getting hit by price hikes because of, you know, just people being desperate for new cards and you know, just the whole market exploding. However, right now, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, the brand new RTX 50 series is very, very scarce. But you can, RTX 40 series, RTX 30 series, I don't think you have too many issues with getting. So I don't think that's too big of an issue. What you also want to keep in mind is that, you know, between Intel Arc being okay, Intel Arc has pretty much sold out when I looked at it back in whenever it came out in like December, January. I'm pretty sure stock has improved Intel Arc. And then there's also the brand new AMD graphics cards coming out soon, the RX 90 series, because they skipped a generation because I don't know, they just felt like it. Yeah, crypto nonsense pretty much. That, and also, you know, the whole pandemic that happened at the time definitely didn't help. And now I feel that the AI trend is... It's very much difficult to tell how much it is that NVIDIA's capacity is impacted by that. Definitely a lot. Obviously, if they can produce a graphics card where they get like, I don't know, a couple of % ROI versus like 100% ROI versus the kind of just the base materials going into it, obviously you want to create AI cards. But they're also such a big company that can buy so much capacity at players like TSMC, and also when it comes to all of the other partners required to put together a graphics card, it really shouldn't be that much of a problem. So it's other factors that have kind of plagued the GPU market since that time period have kind of, you know, been phasing out. Obviously the pandemic is gone. Another thing that kind of people were worried would affect the semiconductor market in general is the war in Ukraine, because Ukraine is responsible for about, I read, like 90% of the neon used in the process of creating chips. But they had time to really, invest in new countries that could do it, and of course with the situation in front kind of easing and trade being a bit restored when it comes to Ukraine, and hopefully we could get more of that neon necessary to actually make chips. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult to tell. Someone asked me, am I in a relationship? No. You think a nerd like me who just talks about Windows XP era PCs all day is in one? And then yeah, the naming scheme was it's confused a lot of people. It is going to be confusing. However, I believe at the same time, it's also part of the strategy to make people actually look it up. The amount of news that people are putting out there, myself included, I'm feeding into it by making videos, by constantly talking about it. I'm already building up, I won't say hype, but I'm making people informed about it because of these changes in the name. I think it is playing right into AMD's plan there. They wanted to do something out of left field a bit, just to get people talking. Why did they miss a generation? Well, all of a sudden you have a lot of articles and a lot of videos online speculating about it, giving them free coverage, just by going with a 9 instead of an 8 at the start of the name. And then when it comes to the other part of the naming scheme, that is the fact that they're switching over to where the third digit indicates the specific card rather than the second digit, I like how Nvidia does it. Well, then again, it would make things a lot simpler when it comes to comparing the two, which is again something that would make things easier and also would allow AMD to get some more promotion and make the cards look better that way. I mean, we had a similar system on CPUs for ages now. Both Intel Core and AMD just used 3, 5, 7, 9. And then, Threadripper and Xeon and whatever else when you go to workstation, but whatever. So we had that system for ages on CPU. I don't see why we couldn't have a similar tier system for graphics cards. Then we also need to get Intel on it as well. They're kind of doing it as well. Though, with the first number being, 3, 5, 7. So I guess, kind of. I need a drink. Whenever I rant about graphics card this much, I need to. There we go. Anyway, do people actually enjoy all of these rants? That's a big question, because I feel like I rant about the very similar topics every single time I do one of these shows now. It's just about how ridiculous the current GPU generation is, between people buying up Intel again, between AMD doing some weird 4D chess with the release of the RX series, and then like Nvidia following suit, delaying their own graphics cards because of something that AMD is doing. That's unprecedented. Since when did Nvidia care what AMD's doing? Nvidia just do their own thing and people buy the stuff anyway because they're Nvidia. Like, since when do Nvidia of all people feel like they need to allow AMD to shoot first? Obviously, Nvidia still shot first. Well, technically, Intel shot first, but they're playing a completely different game. They shot a gun on a completely different planet at a completely different target. Nvidia shot first by going on at CES stage and announcing everything, even though AMD had very much opportunity, because on that day, the AMD conference was happening first, and then the Nvidia one later that same day. Literally just in the same building. So they very much had the opportunity to go first, but they didn't. They allowed Nvidia to do it. But anyway, we're kind of getting off topic. But I don't know. I like reading the chats. If you're wondering why I'm constantly looking up out there in the sky, that's because I have my second monitor where I'm actually monitoring the chat. Technically, because I don't have anything on this monitor right here, I can move it here. Right, so I can, there we go. So now I can actually look at the camera and at the chat at the same time. Wow. Why didn't I think of that earlier? What a fantastic use of my giant 43-inch display. So yeah, if you want to hear me rant about anything else, just let me know. And if you have any specific questions about any of my thoughts on any of this, again, leave a live chat, leave a super chat, because they do go a long way in supporting this channel, and also getting ready to go to Computex in May, because flying all the way from the UK to Taipei is not cheap. Anyway, some dude in my Micro Center group just got a 5090 for $3,070. Ouch. I mean, if he has the money, go for it. I gotta say, I'm kind of tempted by the 5090 myself. There's 32 gigabytes of RAM, looking nice. Multi-frame gen, looking sweet. But I would be looking for one specific one, and I'll show you in a second which one, because it is the. I saw it live at CES though. Gigabyte did have it on display. It looked sweet in person, and that's because it is pretty much the upgraded version of the card I have now. If you don't know, I have a water-cooled build. You can't see it right now, but I have done a water-cooled build, and I'm currently using an RTX 4080 Waterforce WB. So this card is basically the 5090 version. If you're asking me why 4080, the 4080 is known as a great value card. Usually when someone says that they're planning on buying a 4080, they get told how dumb they are and just to spend a bit more on a 4090. The issue is that Gigabyte did not have a Waterforce water-blocked version of the 4090, only of the 4080. So that's literally my main reason for going with the 4080. But this is the 5090. It looks phenomenal. I think I actually prefer the look of the 4080 Waterforce WB a bit better. I prefer the pattern down here a bit more. However, because it is not vertically mounted, you can't see this pattern anyway, so it really does not matter for my use case. But yeah, it does look pretty sweet. It would if I upgrade, this would be my next graphics card. Thing is, I really don't need to. Like I said, I do have a 4080 already. Gaming wise, it is fine in pretty much all games. Pretty much the only thing it isn't fine in is Indiana Jones. I really want to play that game. It looks so cool, but I want to do it justice by playing it in the max settings. Issue is, at 4K with max settings, even with like performance DLSS, I get like 10-15 FPS. I did a video about it. I did a video diving into the performance of that game. Actually unplayable on max settings at 4K. So multi-frame gen, the 32 gigs of VRAM, plus of course the architectural improvements of Blackwell would very much help there. But I'm not going to buy it just for a single game. I'm tempted to, but again, for stuff like video editing, the 4080 is fine, the 16 gigs it has are fine. What I definitely need more of video editing is more just normal memory, because 64 gigs ain't enough for the kind of videos I make now. I literally have to close down, I need to close down Chrome, I need to close down Discord, because otherwise everything will just crash and just burn when I try to export something right now. So I definitely need to upgrade to 128. I can't believe I'm saying this. But I actually need to upgrade to 128. Oh, so the $3,000 5090 was the ROG Strix one. The RTX AIO version. Oh yeah, the AIO versions are also pretty cool. However, at the same time, if you're already spending so much, I can't imagine too many people will go for an AIO card versus going for a custom water cooling setup. That's just kind of my obviously there's people who are just rich but are also just lazy and can't be bothered to make a custom water cooled build and just want to throw in an AIO. They don't care if it doesn't look as clean as a full water cooled build, but I get that. I get that. Rumors that they're making the CPU for the Switch 2. I mean, what, Nvidia? Yeah, it's pretty much already definitely confirmed that they're going to stick with Nvidia for the Switch. The original one used a Tegra SoC, so that's Maxwell based, right? So that's the GTX 900 series equivalent. But obviously it didn't even perform like GTX 900 series because it's a tiny little budget mobile chip, essentially, just running on the same architecture. I believe that the Switch 2 is supposed to be using the It's not going to be Turing. What was after Turing? It was Pascal, Turing, and then it was... I forgot the name. It was not Lovelace. Last year it was Lovelace. I actually forgot. What was the architecture for RTX 3000? When Pascal, Turing, something, Lovelace, and then Blackwell. And that was... Kill me, I can't remember. What was it called? RTX 3000 architecture. That was the... Ampere. There we go, Ampere. So the switch to, if I remember seeing from the leaks, is gonna be Ampere based. So that's RTX 3000 equivalent. That means you also get all the fancy DLSS, which is gonna be super useful for the Switch. It used like in-house upscaling, which looked atrocious whenever the CPU struggled, and just brought the resolution down. So now with DLSS and AA upscaling, it's gonna look pretty sweet. The CJ Samson says, "Love your content, man. Keep it up. Thank you very much. I have no idea how you can like this content. This show is just all over the place. Went from talking about retro PC builds to the RTX 50 series to what else? Random niche PC games from the early 2000s that only I and only maybe a couple of other people like." Seriously, if you've heard of this game before, actually let me know. It's gonna be one of the first ones I actually play when I get this thing up and running again, because again, it just doesn't work. And I really, really wanna hear that Windows XP sound again. Ranroy just became a member on the channel. Thank you so much. It truly goes a long way. If you don't know, being a member does actually give you access to an exclusive video every single month and much more, which is going to be there's already quite a few on the channel that you can watch. This month is going to be pretty interesting, and because it's going to be about what all of you guys watching bought last year. So if you don't know, obviously I have affiliate links under every single one of my videos, and if you buy something using those links, then you know I get a report of what tech people actually buy, and it doesn't have to be just the thing I link to. If you just get to Amazon using my Amazon links, if you just do your groceries that way, it just works. Ranroy, did you just give 10 memberships? You are one generous person. Look at all of you people claiming. You get to enjoy all of those member videos now. Oh my word, you are amazing. Thank you so much. Like I said, that is going straight towards Computex now, because again, going to Computex is not cheap. Everyone in chat, thank Ranroy right now. Like, just everyone, just thank him for what he just did, for giving you all of those memberships. Give him a virtual hug or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, one of the member video for this week, for this month, will be just going over what you guys bought via the Amazon associate links last year. So seeing what CPUs you guys buy the most, seeing what motherboards you like, seeing what you know, do you prefer stuff from Asus or MSI or Gigabyte? What kind of power supplies you guys buy? What kind of RAM is popular? And just going through and seeing what was some of the most popular things. And like I said, the reason I bang on about Amazon links every single video, as well as the Newegg links, is because if you buy anything from them, including just your normal grocery, as long as you got to Amazon using that link, then hey, I still get paid for it. And so I had people buying insect repellent. I saw when I was going through the reports for this video, I saw people buying like floor mats for the car for a Chevy Cruze, I believe it was. Whoever it is that owns that Chevy Cruze that that brought the mats for it via my videos, shout out, because that helped as well. So yeah, random stuff. If you're planning on doing any shopping on Amazon, just use those links. You don't get anything out of it, and in fact, think of it that way. Because you don't pay anything extra, and instead it's Amazon who takes the cut out of it to give to me, then Jeff Bezos gets paid less. Right? And we can all agree that's a good thing, right? Think of it that way. Think of it that way. Anyway, going back to the subject at hand, shall we? Let's just go out of this view and back to my beautiful face here on your screen. So this is going to be an upcoming project. Like I said, I want your opinions on what kind of stuff I should actually throw in here. Definitely the money raised from this live stream will also go towards getting stuff for this build, because it's going to require a new cooler. Again, most likely graphics card wise, it's going to be an 8800 GTS if I can hunt down one for a good price. They don't cost too much on eBay from what I saw, so that shouldn't be too big of an issue. And also case. I need case suggestions because I have no idea what kind of cases were popular in that kind of period of time. So if you know a good case that you can still buy in a relatively good condition on eBay or any other sites like that, please, oh please, let me know. And I really want to try to get this up and running because it was still a good build, and the Phenom 2 X4 at the heart of it is still a good CPU. However, I have no idea where to start troubleshooting it, apart from just getting a new motherboard and trying a new motherboard. And I've never recapped a board before, so the issue is that I don't think, yeah, I'll do a good job of that either. It will be a good video. It will be a good video, me trying and failing to recap a board for the first time. It's gonna be like a one video where I did water cooling for the first time and it spilled all over the place. that was when I was so worried that was the thing that ruined that PSU I used at the time. It was the Be Quiet, whatever the most powerful one is, Dark Power Pro 13, I believe the model was, because I just heard a loud pop and smelled burning right after I just pushed it with Cyberpunk 2077. So I thought that some water got in and ruined it. And then I started seeing reports on Twitter of other people complaining that that exact same PSU blew up for them, which made me feel a bit better. Which made me feel a bit better about the fact that it wasn't my fault, that it was just a faulty batch of PSUs. I think that's everything for this live stream, really. How long have we been going for? It probably says here, yes it does, 33 minutes. That's around a good length. Anyway, definitely stay tuned for the next one next week. Actually, no. What day is it going to be next week? 27. Okay, no. So next week is going to be fine. The week after that, I'll be leaving. I'll be gone for a couple of days to Poland again. But then after that, we should be back with a regular show. I want to plan because I want to have this be a weekly thing. And obviously things can get in the way. So even if I'm not available on the Saturday to make the show, I want to start doing them pre-recorded. Obviously it's not the same thing as being here, interacting with the audience, you know, having random stuff happen like some madman gifting 10 memberships. But at least it's something. At least it keeps the streak going. And at least it's more content for you guys. I also want to start getting some guests involved. If you have suggestions for what guests you want to have on this show, and what some other stuff you want to see me do on the show. Like I said, I don't want it just to be about reading through news. I don't want it just to be about me ranting about random stuff all the time. So that's why I wanted to take this time to walk you through some of the plans I have for some awesome builds, including this thing, including this thing, including this thing as well. You know, finally exploring what happens when you break AMD and you force them to release something like a 9590. That's going to be a really fun video. Once I get the CPU repaired, that is, because I still need to... There's going to be a video repairing a CPU, and it's going to be a video actually delving deep into what a interesting CPU it was. So yeah, let me know what kind of stuff you want to see in the show info. And that is about it. Thank you so much, Ranroy, once again. Guys, enjoy those member-only videos. And that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this very weird episode of Weekends with Runner, but you know what episode of it isn't weird. So if you liked it, remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I do next. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye. Guess it's time to let go. I see clear when I open my eyes. Now that your body's so cold, drinking way too much now.
fear is to let go.